Haven't you? Right then guys, don't know how this is going to turn out. But as I said, we have a quick waffle. So I'm just walking around a lake at the minute. I think I'm the only one around here, but I thought we'd have a quick waffle about Virkon. Now I know there's a lot of people out there who swear by it and who use it. First of all, before I start waffling, I'll put a bit of a disclaimer on this video that this is just what I've heard, what I'm about to tell you, and by no means am I suggesting that anybody does what I'm about to say. Okay? Yeah? Because I know there's some gone wrongs out there who would, so there's no need to do it. But the waffle really is just about the way we use Virkon and what people think. This is more of a, I'll tell you this, you tell me what you think. Now I got my selfie stick, so I apologise if I'm all over the place. So a couple of weeks ago we had the Newark show, and a friend of mine was at the Newark show. We'll call him Bob because he's asked me not to mention who he is. Looks like this. So Bob was telling me that he had one of his customers come there who he hadn't met before, and he got talking to him, and lo and behold, here this guy used to have a well, not a fishing lake. He was basically a trout and salmon farmer. Okay, and the company who makes Virkon approached him in the early 80s and asked him if he would trial a product what they were thinking of putting out for not only salmon and fish farmers, but for the ornamental fish industry as well. So this guy, not Bob, because Bob's the one who's told me this, this guy, I think his name escapes me at the minute. We'll call him Clive. Okay, call him Clive. So Clive agreed to test out this product, and he was getting this product by the palletful. He had loaded delivery, and he was told by the manufacturing company, I can't remember who it is now, somebody will put it in your eyes, my memory's crap, to basically try it and to push the boundaries with it. So Clive did what he was told, given the instruction, and started to use the product, which is what we now know as Virkon S. Sorry, not Virkon S, Virkon Aquatic. That's where the confusion is. So Virkon Aquatic, he started using Virkon Aquatic to the manufacturer's guidelines. Then he started pushing the boundaries, and what he found was that Virkon Aquatic, in his opinion, could not be overdosed, and he was using Virkon Aquatic on two day old fry. So when these fry got to 2 days old, he was telling Bob that they used to put it in, never measure it, but he used to put it in by the palletful. On a normal pond, lake, if you like, I suppose, this sort of size, I don't know, I don't know what fish farmers do. He was saying, no way on God's holy earth could you overdose with Virkon. And they tried it. It never had any detrimental effects. It never knocked back any bio load in the water. I would imagine that there's not really any filters being used on a trout farm or a lake farm when they're out in the mud ponds. No detrimental effects, and from 2 days old in a closed system where they did have filters, etc., they were putting it in with fry, and they were adding it every single day, and found that they couldn't overdose with it. I found this, if I'm honest, I found this very hard to believe, and this for me was quite an eye-opener. Bob then went on to tell me that another customer of his had also tried Virkon. He'd got a 2,500 gallon pond, and in this 2,500 gallon pond he put 19 Virkon tablets in one go, straight in, because he'd been having bacterial issues and so on and so forth. So he put 19 tablets. Bob did say, why 19? And the other customer did say, because that's all I've got left in the bottle. So I put the lot in. Now for years he'd been using it as per what everybody thinks, the 500, one tablet for 500 gallon. I know that's arguable as well. A lot of people argue that, saying, oh, it's one tablet per 1,000. So he was using it at one tablet per 500 per the instructions, and it was never doing anything at all for the pond. So what he did, he put the 19 tablets all in one, in a 2,500 gallon pond, which should have had what, 2, 4, 5 tablets, put 19 in. So he basically tripled the dose. Within 3 days his fish were showing signs of healing, and within a fortnight he got no problems whatsoever in the pond. And this guy, I mean, you've obviously seen the bacterial infections I've been suffering with. This guy, from what I can gather, was having the same sort of issue, and I know a lot of people have had the same sort of issue as well this year. It's been a crap year for bacteria, and he's pretty much cleared it up with the use of 19 tablets. So going back to Clive, who's the fish farmer, this guy, as I said, reckoned you cannot overdose with Virkon, and he swears by this. Now, he used it, he tested it from the mid 80s or from the early 80s, and never had an issue, from what I can gather. Never measured it, just threw it in by the pallet load or by the bag load, whatever they had it in, and just threw it in. Never had issue. So, with that being said, after I'd had this conversation with Bob, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this, because as you know, I've got a paddling pool with what's left of my fish from the main pond, and I thought, you know what, let's give this a go. All I'd got 13 tablets. Now this paddling pool only holds at maximum 4,000 litres. So I thought, well, I can't be putting 13 tablets in, that's too much. But I put 9 in. 9 tablets straight in, into 4,000 litres. That shouldn't have even had one tablet. So, because remember, the manufacturers, or the instructions state, 1 tablet per 500 gallon. So 4,000 litres is what? Well, yeah, a couple of tablets I suppose, but I put 9 in, just to see what happened. Now I've got a kinky Atsuri in there, which has still got an open wound, and I've got a Kawaku in there, which has also recently had 2 scales took out, which is all that was left of an open wound. So they've done well. I've put 9 tablets in, checked the parameters, all the parameters were fine. Threw the tablets in 2 days after. I've checked the parameters, all the parameters are fine. Now these tablets, I never dissolved them in a bucket. I never did anything pre-doing with them. I just got the tablets straight out the tub and I chucked them in. Threw them straight into the pool. The fish obviously went for them thinking that was food, but you could see them fizzing away. No discoloration as such to the water. No effect on the parameters. And the fish are showing signs of, well, the Kawaku especially, there's nothing wrong with that at all now. And the kinky Atsuri has got a fresh layer of skin all over it, all over the wound. So it's showing signs of healing. Now, bacterial issues in my pond have been a nightmare for 2 years. And of course I've done the same as everybody else. And we've all stuck to the manufacturer's guidelines as to what to use, how to use it, so on and so forth. But as I said in my last video, I'm one to always push the parameters, and I always have been. You know, if somebody says, oh, this can only have 1 tablet per 500. I'll always go, I don't know, 3 tablets per 1,000. You know what I mean? So I've always pushed them, but not to the extreme like I did with this Virkon. And with the conversation what was had, the Virkon tablets, as I said, the Aquatic S, get it right there, Virkon Aquatic, forget the S bit, don't even worry about the S because that's super firm sheep dip, that is. So the Virkon Aquatic, in 4,000 litres, that's if there is that much, there ain't even going to be that much in there, but the maximum it holds is 4,000 litres. And the Virkon S, I've near again, the Virkon Aquatic, sorry guys, the Virkon Aquatic, I'll put 9 tablets in that paddling pool. Now if anybody's got one of these paddling pools, you'll know 9 tablets, you'd expect to see it like a bucket of bleach. None of it, not even a bit of foam. I've got plenty of air going in, little Cockney coy filter going on there. I've got a 4,000 litre an hour pump, which is only on number 2, so it might be doing 1,000 litres an hour. No issues, none at all. This is my experience, and like I said at the start of the video, by no means am I instructing or advising anybody to do this, because this is something I've tried after being told a story of a fish farmer saying that under any circumstances whatsoever he could never overdose with Virkon. So this is something I've tried. This is something I wanted to put out there and just see what your opinions were. I want you to comment as to what you think, because it's certainly opened my eyes. I'm a skeptic at the best of times. I don't believe it until I see it, no matter what it is. I don't believe it until I see it, but I've got 13 tablets and I put 9 in. Still got 4 tablets left, I used them. And it was more of a test, not so much for the bacterial, but more of a test to see what it did with the water, how the fish reacted, and see what happened, if I'm honest. And the fish reaction was pretty much minimal, nothing. And I watched them, and I've watched them on the cameras, and there was no jumping, no flicking. Well, there was flicking, but there was flicking anyway. I think there's flukes in there, even though I scraped them. I touched them since I've gone in there, really. But what I have done, I have noticed that on the kinky Atsuri, it's got a layer of skin now over the wound after putting them 9 tablets in. So it's like I said, it's not a how to do it or anything like that. There's a disclaimer on the video, and if anybody does do it, they'll come back to me if it causes you issues. I've tried it, it's worked okay, it's been okay. No ill issues, parameters are all fine, fish were fine, and so on and so forth. And like I said, if you try it yourself and you get problems, they'll come back to me. But if I can put 9 tablets, which is 4,500 gallons worth of Virkon, into a 4,000 litre pool, which really only deserves 1 tablet at the most, I would have thought, then there's got to be something saying that it's going to be very hard to overdose it. And what I'm trying to get at, and what I'm trying to make out here is, if the manufacturers are telling us to use 1 tablet per 500 gallon, to me, like a lot of other stuff, like you'll see on the back of all manufacturers' packets, is to save their own arse, and you're underdosing every single time that you use it. Am I right? Am I wrong? Have I been lucky? Or is there some truth in what I'm saying? I'd like to know your thoughts on this, because it's one of them where I'm feeling that the manufacturers have done this to get more money out of koi keepers especially. And I mean, we're already sort of paying koi tax on everything we buy. And is this just another sort of knife in the side where we could be solving the problem with a big hit of Virkon and not having to pay so much? Or is it a case of, well, it's the way I see it, it's just a case of them trying to make money out of us with the koi tax. So I'd like to know your thoughts. what do you think? So what to ponder on is, can we overdose with Virkon? That's the main question. I couldn't. I've put 9 tablets in. This guy, Bob, his name is, yeah. He's basically telling my friend that, well, no, sorry, Clive's telling Bob that at no point could he overdose with it, and they pushed the boundaries to try and do that. And at 2 days old, the fry, they were smacking a load of Virkon in with them as well. Why, I don't know. But so I'd like to know your thoughts on it. This is just a bit of a waffle, and I just wanted to put it out there and see what everybody else thought. You know what I mean? Because things like this go over in my head. And it's like I said, I put 9 tablets in 4,000 litres, which don't make sense. If according to the manufacturer's instruction, I should have killed my fish. Should have wiped them out. I had a feeling it wouldn't, because I've overdosed with it all along before. I've always pushed the boundary on it, but not so much as I did this time. If I'm honest, I'm now thinking of ordering another tub of Virkon, unless there's somebody out there who wants to supply me a tub. Wink wink. And I'll smack the old tub in 4,000 litres, just to show, well, I can't really say just to show I'll have no ill effects, but just as a tester, and I'll document it. So let me know your thoughts on this one before we go there. As like I said, they're showing signs of recovery. The 2 fish I did have an issue with are showing signs of recovery. The Chagoy, which if you remember jumped out on the hottest day of the year, never even really had an issue with that. But the 2 what did have an issue, they're recovering fine. Even after the Virkon's gone in. So sorry if I've babbled on. I mean, I've done 17 minutes now of me just rattling on and walking around this lake. And there's a guy fishing over the other side who probably thinks I'm going a bit mad talking to myself. But I just needed to get this out there, and I thought, well, I'm going to have a walk around the pool, and we'll see, you know, what your thoughts are. This it was an eye opener for me. I asked Bob if I could use his real name. He asked me not to, but I did say I was going to put it out. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Thanks for watching. This is just an off-the-cuff video, so no fancy music to start, no fancy music to end. Like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. You know, this, if you want to slate me, you can slate me by putting 9 tablets in, but it's got to be tried, the way I see it. And it's like I said, if Virkon is rated at doing 1 tablet per 500 gallon, if this is what the manufacturers are telling us, but I can put 9 tablets in 4,000 litres, what's going on? If my fish are still fine, no detrimental effects. I've read a comment today that it can rot steel or metal or whatever around the pond. I don't know about that, if I'm honest. So the manufacturer's just telling us lies to sell us more. Who knows? Might even know this is a mud pond yet. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, folks. I've babbled on long enough. I did say it was going to be a bit of a waffle, and it is. But it's just something I'd like to get opinions on. I've used Virkon for 20 years, but never pushed it as far as I have now. And I know Virkon at the minute is the big all, do it all, you know, everybody's raving about it. Say all as good as it really don't make out, if I'm honest. Why you'd want to dilute Virkon in a bucket first and then put it in the pond, I'll never know. Because they're effervescent tablets and they'll just dilute in the water column anyway. So you put your strength straight in the pond instead of losing it in hot water. So, you know, there's so many things you can go on about Virkon. Virkon Aquatic, not the S. Don't use the S. The S ain't designed for fish. It's designed for sheep. It's got, I think the S is for super verm or sheep or whatever it is. So yeah, opinions, folks. It's nearly 20 minutes long now. I'll leave you to it, and thanks for watching. And if you're going to slate me, you slate me. If you don't, then I'd just like to know your opinion, and that's why I've put it out there, just so as we can all get onto one level with this Virkon and say, well, hang on, if we buy a full tub and throw the full tub in the pond, is that going to sort out what we're trying to achieve, instead of just putting one every 500 gallon in? Because that's the way I see it. One each with Virkon and you're done. So yeah, okay then guys, thanks for your company. Catch you later.